All right, everybody, I think I'm on. Basically, we're at step 5. So congratulations. It's a big step because this is the interim reflection time. So while you just did a check-in with your supervisor, that was really to get a look at where your research is and make sure you're making good connections with them. This now is your official reflection meeting. And for this one, that means you're going to have to upload a reflection to ManageBack. Remember, it's generally around 150 words, and we want to talk about big things, big ideas, and where we're going next. So for this step, we're not going to meet, as you can tell. Hopefully you'll get to go support your team, our IASIS competitors and that kind of stuff. But you'll also take this time to maybe book your meeting with your supervisor, and particularly any experiments you might need to book. So with that, let's get on with it, all right? So what's here? I've got some reminders for you. I've got some reflection hacks, MLA support, annotated bibliography support, outlining support, and EE rubric support. So basically these are going to kind of jump you to that spot in the presentation, and can work as a table of contents so that you can jump around there, thus the resource pack or super pack idea. Okay, so you can use this as you will, basically until the end here now. So let's go through reminders first. First reminder is just like, you can always stop by and chat with me if you need to. Stop in my office. I love to do the kind of, what's your topic? What help can I provide you? What resources do you need? That kind of stuff. So you're all welcome to stop by anytime. Okay. Big reminders though. Big reminders here are, use this meeting time to either get with your supervisor, write your reflection, come together though so that you know what you're going to work on. Your intermediate or interim meeting reflection is due posted to ManageBack by April 24th at 8 p.m. With that, if you are doing an experiment, you must get this planned and scheduled. This was definitely a fall down point for some of our seniors, so let's get this taken care of. And then the next few slides are to help you with that meeting, okay? So, first thing is some discussion things. You might be sitting there saying like, whew, we haven't really had much to talk about, or we're not really on the same page. We're both so busy. This is tough enough. So what can we talk about, Mr. Bell, that'll help us in this process? So one thing is, maybe if you're honest, you could say that, you know, I've been kind of passive in this and just done what I've had to do to get by. Maybe increase the number of meetings you have. Maybe try to book as I said, book your experiment, those type of things with your supervisor so that you make sure that all that's on the calendar. But be proactive. That's the idea here is reach out and make sure you're getting things done. Reading. Have you got all the research you need, or are there some obvious holes? Or does your supervisor have some suggestions about holes in your research? One of the things I find very helpful with my EE students is this idea of drawing up a split board and saying, okay, on this side we're going to have this. On that side we're going to have the IB curriculum piece. In the middle, we're going to come together on this analysis piece, and what are you missing in regards to that analysis? So you might need to do some more reading, but it's something you could definitely discuss with your supervisor. Okay? Notes. Any notes, you could show them, you could ask, you could jot down a few things, but basically the idea for this one is saying, you know, what when I was putting together my outline really was a hanging point, a point where I could tell I didn't have enough information, and what notes can I take for myself to better get more proactive in that area and start collecting the things I need so that I can start my writing. Okay? Your outline. You might show them your outline again and say, can we walk through this? That would be a great meeting, just to walk through your outline and describe what you have planned for each section. With that, your supervisor may then be able to say like, oh, okay, I see here that you're kind of missing this, or you're leaning that direction, or you're being persuasive in this direction, and I like that. So it's just a way to show them your roadmap for your writing and get some feedback on that. If you did nothing but that piece, you'd be in good shape. Okay, last few here. You could look at exemplars together on each one of your and EE sites. You can take a look at that. I've got subject guides there, subject reports there, and I've also got exemplars you could look at. You could talk about time management. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do over the summer? Get this planned out so that you have an active plan you can work through. Start writing. Honestly, we're closing in on a point where we can kind of shut the book on doing more research and start putting that research into action, and work on it. And the last thing is we can always revisit the research question. So have something you're ready to talk about with your supervisor, have the ideas ready to go. I'm going to send with this the template again, so that you have something, a very clear email you can send your supervisors, and be ready to work with them right away and tell them what you want to talk about, okay? So that we don't waste anybody's time. All right, so reflections, this is not new. This is, again, stuff I've shown you already, just that we're going to do 150 words for the second one. Why is reflection important to us? Well, because it makes sense of the material we're reading. It really allows you to take it and put it into a personal context and build your own understanding as well as that of others for this purpose, for our paper purpose. And that comes from the University of Purdue. Okay, so that's why, here's what it's about. Keep in mind that 6 points for criteria E on engagement is a big chunk of it is this reflection that you're going to end up doing. Okay, so how can you get some help with your reflections? Here's how to do the skills, here's reflection hacks, here's reflection explained. And then of course you can email me and your supervisor. So together these are all 5 different supports that you can lean into to make sure that you do a good job and get the points here necessary. Some resources, how to ace your reflections, and writing stems. I find the writing stems to be super helpful for kids because sometimes you get in a rut and you continue to write the same thing over and over and over again. This way you can kind of diversify your writing with some kind of colorful language or some more in-depth style writing. Okay. So here I just wanted to give you what is a weak version of a reflection, and here's a stronger one. Okay, you know, it's up to you, but I think it's not, you can see that word-wise it's about the same amount of words. It's just what those words mean and how you apply those words. Okay, that makes the difference. And here's a very strong one. Okay, so if you want to get down to that point where you know you're getting those points for reflection, you know you're getting those points for engagement, read these examples, make sure that they make sense to you. If you have questions about them, come see me. Lastly, I kind of give you a checklist here of ideas before you leave your meeting, okay? First thing is, have you discussed what you will be writing in the reflection? I know that sounds crazy, but it's one of those things that, like, if you talk to them and say, as a final wrap up, can I just say what I have here so that I can be clear on what I'm going to write in my reflection? Your supervisor will appreciate that, and it will make your life easier. Confirm your time for your experiment. This is huge. I've already spoken to science, but some of you are also doing economics ones or whatnot where you have to do an experiment, or you don't have to, but you're going to do an experiment. Book that now. Don't wait and save that till the end of school. You won't get it done, and then you'll be stuck in the summer. Okay. Confirm that there's no holes in your research. So a really great question to ask is, Mr. Bell, what am I missing? What do you see as an issue or a weakness in my research at this point? That's just a good conversation starter, okay? Ask any questions that's come from your research. Maybe you need clarification. Maybe you need some deeper understanding. Your supervisor should be able to help you there. And then making sure you're clear on what you're going to analyze. Now, typically with my students or my supervisees, what I try to do is I try to say, look, you've got your research that you've done on one side of the page. On the other side of the page, you've got the IB curriculum, no matter what that area is. You're trying to tie those two things together to prove that you know what you learned in your IB course, and also prove that you have done your research into that area and it is valid. And now you take those two pieces, you pull them together, and you try to come to some conclusion. That's analysis, okay? Comparing them, contrasting them, making connections between them. Those are things you're trying to do with your analysis, okay? Thank your supervisor and get on out of there, all right? So what makes sense in a reflection? Good sense, effective choices, the changes that you made. A lot of you are making changes, which is good. That means you're being reflective and thinking about a different direction or a better way to do things. That's great. How did you solve the problem? Your most useful mistake. You know, mistakes are great ways to learn and grow. So what was that? So these are some ideas to kind of get your brain thinking about, like, okay, I could put this in my reflection, which will make good sense and get me what I need. But the big thing here is show engagement with your EE by problem solving characteristics, not process. Again, we know what the process was. Okay? All right. That takes us to the MLA support. You know, I completely lean into mybib.com. You all have that already. We made that at the outset. We made that setup for you, so you're good to go. If you're having to write a few yourself, like you can't get the citation, here's the elements of a strong MLA citation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, get those things in there. But this is really just resource for you, exemplars, what things are, what they mean. One thing I did want to point out, and this is really important, MyBib gives you a lot more than just the citation. So make sure you take a look at this. For example, you can create a citation here if it won't generate one for you. That happens periodically. So click on that. It will walk you step by step through the process. If you've ever used Noodle Tools or anything like that, it's exactly the same thing. Okay. The other thing, your in-text citation, there's no reason you should not have in-text citations. And to be honest, I'm a big believer in oversight. If you feel like something you paraphrased enough or you directly quoted it, it needs an in-text citation. Okay. The last thing is they've also got this thing now where it's checking the citation for you and it says, hey, there's no author to this, or this might be a questionable source. Take a look at those, check those out, see what it is talking about, and confirm or validate that the resource is valuable. This is a big part of your annotated bibliography. Okay. And then I've just got some examples in here, loads and loads of examples. As you click through these, you'll be able to see, I've just tried to capture some things for you. In-text citation of 2 authors, the work cited, 3 or more authors, multiple authors at the same time. By the way, multiple authors at the same time shows very, very, very strong research. Okay, no author. So anyway, these are just research citation type supports that give you examples that you can look at and kind of come back to if you need when you're putting your paper and stuff together. Okay. And here's a description of what the kind of EE versus MLA here. Your EE, when you get it all done, really you shouldn't have your name in it anywhere. So you don't need to put that on there, or ISB. Remember, this is going to an external examiner. They don't need to know any of that information. And so please do not put that in there. It requires a title page, and it also includes the date of access to your citations, okay? We'll go through this more thoroughly in the next session, actually in the April session, but this is really to kind of get you on your way. Okay. URLs, get a lot of questions about URLs or document information. Basically, the idea here is that in your citation, if you can get the URL, put it there. But if you get it from a database, you don't need to do that because people have to have access to those databases, so the links that you get from those typically don't work. Same thing goes for like a bit.ly or something like that where it's been shortened. You don't need to put those in. But otherwise, if it's like the Department of Defense or the UN, United Nations, then put that link in there. People like to see that. It helps with validating sources. Okay. All right. Lastly, if you want some practice doing this, you can go here. I've got a link here to this actual thing. You can put it in there, put together your own citations yourself and see how you do. It is based on MLA 9, which is the most recent edition. All right. And remember, your citation tool is right up here. It's MyBib citation tool. It does the work for you in here. Make sure that your style is MLA 9. You'll see that the full citation is here. The in-text is right here. Copy that out, put it in. I have projects, so I use the save project piece here all the time to make sure that I keep all my sources in one spot. Okay. All right. The annotated bib. Most of you are done with this part and feel pretty solid. You've got your work cited. Here's just, again, some information to help you. Remember, I like the save method. It's 4 sentences for each citation. Put it in there, get it done. You don't have to do all of your works just the ones that are the most important to your work, because those will ultimately, hopefully, make it into your paper. Okay? So here's what one looks like, a good annotation looks like. Again, these are things that we covered, but it's just support for you, the super PAC. So kind of click through those. Outlining, you just submitted your outline, but just because you've submitted it doesn't mean it's done. Refine it, make it better. Again, if you talk this through with your supervisor, you might find that they've got some great stuff for you, some great suggestions. So try to show them this, try to walk them through it and ask the question, do you see any holes in my work here? What could I do better? So take them on that roadmap. Make sure you go through your methods with them. Then the rubric, this is going to be kind of the last piece we want to talk about. How's it assessed? Focus and method, that's all about our lead in, our intro, our how we're gonna approach the analysis elements. Your knowledge and understanding speaks to how are you gonna link this to the IB curriculum. Your critical thinking is that analysis of those two pieces. Presentation, we will cover in April, and make sure you've got that locked down. Engagement is one of the things we're talking about right now. And over here on the right-hand side is the grade boundaries. Okay? So focus and method, knowledge and understanding, critical thinking, presentation, and engagement. Okay? So that's kind of what I wanted to cover. You've got this time to work. Good luck. Have fun. Let me know if you need any help at all. I always try to make myself available, so email me and we'll set up a time and try and get together. Hope that helps. Good luck, everybody, and take care.